How do you feel about biceps curls in the squat rack? We want to know.
Wow, I really, I'm afraid it's such a debated topic. I don't
Are
really
you a
want to give an
bicep
opinion
curler
with it.
in the squat rack, Jeff?
I am way past that. I've advanced more to just standing curls.
I would have. So we're counting you. Don't do them in the squat rack. We're gonna count you in that party, right?
I would recommend it.
On this episode of Industry Unveiled, I'm excited to welcome someone that I've admired from afar. He's someone that has been a strong presence in the industry. I've been in the industry for 25 years. He's been in the industry much longer, but once you see his face, it's not going to look like that. But he's been with Gold's Gym, like his little LinkedIn bio. It's not little at all. Gold's Gym for 12 years as a CFO, CIO, and a partner. Titan Management Solutions, where I knew him. Also, CEO and partner of Gold's Gym franchisee from 07 to 11. CEO and partner of Fitness Connection from 2007 to 2017. And now the CEO of Results Redefined. It's a great honor and my pleasure to welcome to Industry Unveiled, Mr. Jeff Skeen. Jeff, did I nail that?
Hey, Lyle.
Okay. Did I do okay with that?
Wow, you're great. I need you to introduce me all the time now.
If it's a gig, I'll do it. How are you, my man? Thanks so much for doing this.
Good.
I really appreciate it. It's great. Thank you. How are things going for you?
It's my pleasure and honor.
You're busy.
Good. Very good. Very good. We're busy. Yes, we're busy.
Yeah, getting ready for Ursa. I know Ursa's coming up.
Yeah, we are actually. I'm going to be there and kind of in multiple different capacities, which is really neat now, being in healthcare and dealing with the fitness community. So
Yeah.
kind of a different angle on it, but still the same friends.
Yeah, and I've been dying to let you know this, and you don't know this, but as I mentioned, 2004 to 2007, and I think beyond, you were CEO of Titan. And you called me one time, and you got my number from Brandon, if you recall, and you asked me about some marketing, looking at the website, and you actually also gave me an opportunity to print you some guest passes. I don't know if you knew this, but your call is the genesis. This is a true story. Your call is the genesis of me seeking out a print broker's license, studying how to do some of this stuff. And I started a print broker because of your call, because I had to figure out how to do it. I had gotten laid off from a job that I had, and you gave me something to do. So I've never had a chance to thank you kind of face to face. But
It's my pleasure.
yeah, indirectly yet directly, the company that I have now is connected to your phone call. So I've been dying to call you and tell you from the bottom of my heart, sincerely, thank you. It means the world to me. So
Well, thank you for telling me. I mean, that's awesome.
yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, and it's really interesting. I've been able, through this adventure of doing these interviews, connect with people from before. You might remember Jack Wadsworth. I got started with him. He was in Seattle. And you're one of those individuals that really helped me and mentored me. And we're all, I believe, many of us are dying to know, how do you stay so svelte and handsome after all these years, like a model? But I'm really serious. Like, what is your routine, man? Like, do you wake up and work out? Like, because you're busy. Like, let's get this straight. You're busy, and you're all over the country. You're leading a bunch of people, and we'll get into that. But to get your mind in the right space, what are you doing to get your body in the right space? Because you've been a great example for up and comers like me in the 90s, in the early 2000s, and here you are still doing it. Like, how do you get into that space, and how do you take care of yourself? Please tell us.
Well, I think, it has to be a priority. And it's one of those things that, the one thing I learned in the fitness industry is sometimes we make it very difficult for our customers to feel like they can stay healthy. We come up with all types of crazy routines. They think they have to be in the gym 4 hours a day. I work out 30 minutes a day, 6 days a week. I want to break a sweat. I eat healthy. I think, nutrition obviously is a very, very big part of it. So I'm very cautious of what I eat. I do like treats. I eat pizza. I like cake. It's funny. I go to a party, people will see me eating a cake and they're like, "Oh my goodness, how are you? What are you doing? You're ruining your body." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "No, this is why I work out, so I can enjoy some of
Yep.
these things, especially going to Ursa, right? It's a fun time of hanging out." So also being in the healthcare and medical industries, I have access to resources. My partners are leading medical providers. Um, I get all that kind of coaching and counseling. Being in the fitness industry for so long, I have a lot of friends that give me advice, but it's not really that hard. It's just being consistent, really.
Yeah.
Hey, I
And
appreciate the compliment there, Lyle. I mean,
yeah,
coming from a
well,
young guy like yourself.
everyone's dying to know. You should write a book. And it should be titled The Svelte CEO by Jeff Skeen. I'm telling you, I'll
Oh
promote
boy,
it.
oh
I'll,
boy.
I'll promote it for you, brother. And you've been such a figure in the industry for so long, and with just respect, you've really led a way for others to follow. You've been innovative. I'm really curious. What's the moment years ago when you said, "Wow, this is something that I'd like to do"? You've been a CEO of multiple companies, but you started somewhere. You had mentors. If you don't mind, can you take me back to the origin story when you fell in love with the industry and how it kind of led to you now? But I'd love to know what that moment was.
It's a great question, Lyle. I mean, I do speak about when I guest speak. I don't normally say a lot about it, but I actually got into the industry because I had occupational depression, and I was running a pension software development company, and unfortunately, one of my issues is I can be a workaholic. Like a lot of us that are hard driven, and I've had to learn to find balance in my life. That's very, very important. That helps you stay somewhat young. But I got into the industry. I had two high school buddies that had a year earlier. I was diagnosed with depression in '91, and a year earlier they started a Gold's Gym in Virginia, and I was working out. I had quit my job running a company, and interesting enough, my physician, my family physician, told me to quit my job, which you never hear a
Wow.
doctor
Wow.
prescribing quit your job, right? I mean, that's not something you normally hear,
Yeah.
but I thank God that he did, because it was a really destructive path I was on, and really just took a mental break and was working out at the Gold's Gym they had started, and told them I was unemployed, and they said, "Hey, you should become a partner in a gym with us." And I thought that was the most ridiculous idea I'd ever heard. I have a degree from Virginia Tech in finance, an accounting minor. And I thought, what a great way to ruin a career is to work in a gym. And back then, 92, it wasn't like today,
Yeah.
these phenomenal facilities. And I got into it, and I was really only planning to be in the industry for a year. I was thinking, you know what? Have fun with my friends, take a year mental break, and then get a real job. And who would have ever thought the fitness industry was a career? I mean, most people, when you were in the gym business, were thinking you're a lughead, no
Yes.
money to be had in it. You just, you're a bodybuilder or personal trainer. I was none of the above. I played sports in college, but so I got into the industry, and it really became an incredible lifestyle. I mean, it is amazing, as you've seen being in the industry. It's so incredible to help people, to really see the firsthand impact of what you do. And, over the years, I will say, very blessed. We owned Gold's Gym International in '99. We bought that company, the first private equity deal that we did. And to date, I've done over $850 million in deals in fitness. And you would never have thought that this industry could be such an incredible industry. Now it's much more difficult than it was when we got
Mhm.
in the early '90s. And I will have to say, it took a while before I really had a different viewpoint on the industry. For the longest time, it was, advertising. Get ready for the swimsuit season, right? We do all those things. We tap into those emotional things about getting ready for a wedding, go on vacation. But where did we talk about health? Where did we talk about mental health? Where did we talk about any of those kind of things? And it was a couple things in 2016, I believe, was when I was CEO of Fitness Connection, that a couple epiphanies had come about. One was I had an employee that was in accounting that came to me for a $10,000 raise, which was a significant increase. And I said to the employee, I said, why do you need it? why the $10,000 increase? What have you done? What are you trying to do? Because it's performance-based pay increase. And he turned to me and he said, I had a motorcycle accident, just had a baby, and I can't afford the hospital bills. And it made me think, like, that's incredible that we have people suffering under the healthcare system. I mean, those of us have been blessed financially, we'll always have good care. We always will have that. But I really started looking through the lens of those that were less fortunate, that didn't make as much money. And so that really broke my heart, because I knew as CEO, if I gave him a $10,000 pay raise across the organization, we would have to give everyone pay raises if that was the mentality that we approached.
Yeah.
The next thing was I'd become a patient of my partners, our chief medical officer, who's a urologist, and my other partner, she's a primary care physician. I'd become their patient in 2016. And they started talking about the way doctors were being reimbursed, and talked about the pressure of the compression on reimbursements, very much like the fitness industry, where the price points have come from $50 to $10, right? The fitness industry. And in the medical industry, now you're seeing compression on reimbursements, and physicians being burnt out. They're having to work a lot harder. I could spend an hour with my physician when I was a kid. Now you're lucky to get 15 minutes with a physician. And they started talking about this new model, new way called value-based care, where it was this idea that physicians will be rewarded bonus based on lowering healthcare costs, keeping patient care up. And when you really think about lowering healthcare costs, there's no way to really get your way out of it through efficiencies. I mean, you can only cut back on so many bandages and, so forth. And so really it struck me in talking to them that it really had to be lifestyle modification, that we had to introduce prevention and wellness as a way to make a difference. So 2016, I really started thinking about, how does the fitness industry partner up with the healthcare industry to really become a good partner? Not just one where people think you send to us for getting built, but you come here for health. And so those were kind of epiphanies I had. And then as we got into 2017, towards the end of 2017, I was able to step out of the fitness industry, Fitness Connection. Then we, about a year and a half later, sold, and I was able to move in kind of to this world where I really wanted to. I'd been blessed financially to. How could I make a significant difference in the healthcare space? Seeing people suffer. My whole career, I've always looked at, how do we benefit people? It's not just about making money. It's how do you make true impact in people's lives? And when you shared with me, Lyle, the fact that I had an impact in your life, that's rewarding. That right there means a lot to me, that you shared that story. And so it really got into the industry, and sat down with my partners and said, what are some of the things we can do? How does value-based care work? How does this whole cost shared savings with Medicare work? So we looked at some investments, and we decided, basically my company, Results Redefined, really has made investments in companies that the goal is lowering healthcare costs and improving healthcare for people, and making it more affordable and frictionless to some extent. So kind of two investments that we have a company called Reshape, which is actually being rebranded right now to Re-Envision, which its goal is to tackle the top healthcare costs that are preventable. So the ones that are the top costs are musculoskeletal. So we have a physical therapy division, medical weight loss or weight loss, obesity, type 2 diabetes, and then hormone replacement. And what we have found is that those category of services make a significant difference in lowering healthcare costs if you get those under control. So we work with the primary care physicians in the community. So right now we're in Virginia, Maryland, DC, and Florida, looking to go to Texas next. And we also work with health clubs in the community. So what we have found interesting enough is when a physician says, go to that gym, we found 60% of those people would buy a gym membership and get personal training. So just because they open their mouths, they're able to send a patient over. And so we're in the middle, providing services the physician's not providing. They're getting what's called patient attribution. They're getting credit for their patients getting a better lifestyle. So our real hope is that we're going to be a great partner in the fitness and medical communities to really improve patients' lives. And then the second is healthcare technology. So we're a significant investor in Concierge Health, which Concierge Health is a technology. I wish we would have had it when we had health clubs, that some of you have heard of different programs out there where seniors get free memberships.
Yeah.
So what this technology does is it allows health clubs to serve hundreds of programs with little to no overhead. Whereas I'd only had one program in my gym because it took so much work. And it also has now integrated some of the different technology with the consumer at home, interfacing with different equipment at home, equipment in the gym. So it's really giving accessibility to people to get rewarded by the insurance companies and third-party programs for healthy lifestyle. So our company has really been dedicated to taking these 27 years or so that I've been in the industry and really saying, how do I apply that to my medical partner's experience? And how do we bring it all together? Because it takes a group of us to work together. It can't be, all the pressure can't be on the physicians. It's just not correct. I like the value-based care model. It's probably going to take about 10 years or more to really be embraced. But it really is neat to be in some place where I took an experience where really I originally was like, let me make you pretty.
Yeah.
Let me make you fit. And now let me make you healthy.
I think you mentioned somewhere moving away from the beautification, right, of the industry, right, and more into
I think
preventative.
Yeah, and I think beautification is still important, right? I mean, people, it's like someone told me, the ads for beautification get the phone to ring many times.
Yeah.
Everybody looks good for something. But once we get them in, it's our job to teach them, besides beauty is how do we help you long term?
As a core
keep
purpose.
the lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
And for those operators, what is it with what you're doing right now, and that how health clubs can get involved? How are you partnering with health clubs, and what's maybe on the horizon, if you're able to share how that partnership looks like to really get the word out about preventative care, musculoskeletal care, to really reduce the cost of healthcare in the United States? What can we do as an industry to kind of push your vision along?
Hey, that's a great question, Lyle. There are a number of fitness organizations that we work with that I'll say get it. They look at the customer not as just a dollar sign, right? It's how do we impact it? I mean, one of the biggest examples, COVID was such a horrible thing for the industry and for many industries, right?
Yeah.
But I think COVID made our industry wake up. We wouldn't have been shut down for so long if the governors actually thought that the immune system and the mental health and all the things that we provide were actually being provided. And so I think a lot of health club organizations have woken up. There's a lot of messaging out there that's coming about, which is really great.
Blair with Project 435,
absolutely.
Things like that.
Blair has been a great advocate, absolutely,
Yeah.
of not only that, but also just messaging, working with people on the messaging. Yeah. And people like Blair, he's a great example of someone that really sees the consumer through the eyes of the consumer. And I think one of the things that saddens me many times is when you look at sales techniques that are pushed to our teammates, right? It's this idea of beat them until they buy. It's not about looking at the consumer and saying, what do you need? What are the products and services I have? And how do I meet you where you're at? Because I think if we did a better job of that and not worrying so much about our paychecks, so the paychecks always come.
Yeah.
If you focus on the consumer and they trust you, they're going to send more people to
you. Where do you think that comes from, Jeff? The beat them until they buy? Because when I came into the industry in '97, I mean, I was taught empathy and things like that. But there's this air of you have to close the deal and first visit incentives. And it runs contrary to kind of this vision that you and many others have about having fitness as a preventative measure. It becomes get the deal. Where do you think that has come from, and how do we get rid of it, in your opinion?
Yeah, that's a great question. I joined a long time ago a health club chain that's no longer in business. And I remember just the pressure that was put on me. And that type of pressure, I call it lazy sales.
Yeah.
It's, in my sense, it's a lazy sales approach. And I think we need to do a better job of training our people. A lot of the sales process is good, right? It's uncovering needs. It's uncovering what the person's really, why are they there? They walked into your gym for a reason. If you do a really good job of uncovering the need and helping them understand how your product serves them, you can close them that day. It doesn't have to be a first day incentive or anything. We do know when someone leaves, there's a 50% chance they're not going to join. So we know some of the statistics, but I think it's just much easier to badger and beat somebody into buying something. You see that in a number of industries. And I think just when we look at people, it's like, what's their heart for the human being? You can't train. One of my friends was a top C-level at IBM, and he said, you can't teach someone compassion or even to understand or want to help people. And I think it starts with the heart. And then from the heart, you teach them all the different porcupine and deaf ear and all those wonderful things that people teach them, but it has to be on top of compassion.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the bedrock. And it's really interesting how when you transitioned away from Fitness Connection, when you're looking at getting deals done, what is it like interacting with these health club owners that get, what sets them apart that would make you have this reaction that they get it? Because I think it's important for other operators maybe to say, wow, that's the example of how they get it. It's, I'm sure it's compassion, it's understanding what kind of change can I make? What are other things that these operators that you partner with exemplify that they get it?
They understand that many times the services and products they offer won't get it done. I mean, if someone has a medical condition, they have a thyroid issue or there's low hormone levels or whatever it may be, you can work with the personal training department as much as you want. You can come to the gym every day you want, but until it's addressed medically. And that's what I'm excited about, because we also have a company that's a lab company that works with the top labs in the industry or the areas to get panels done to uncover any of these underlying health conditions. And it was really fascinating. We did a pilot at a health club. 80% of the people that we gave free wellness panels to had some underlying health condition. Wow. It was the most amazing thing to me. My brother was in the health insurance industry for a very long time, and he was shocked. He's like, I thought they're health club members. Aren't they supposed to be healthy? Well, obviously people have issues. And so I think the gym owners understanding that you can't work yourself completely without assistance in many cases from the medical community. And the medical community is happy to provide those services. Before COVID, some of the stats were about primary care physician offices were down about 18% traffic. They're the minute clinics and the urgent cares of this world. You've got Amazon, Walmart, Walgreens all entering it. Their patient levels down. So they are looking for a source of referrals. And actually, we found in one of our pilots that 50% of the health club members didn't have primary care physicians. They would just go to an urgent care or minute clinic. And so primary care physicians are the quarterback of the healthcare community and are a great resource. I mean, when they say, when we talk to physicians and we educate them on our industry and then they educate us on their industry, they're incredible partners. And I think if the fitness organizations understand that the medical community can be a great partner. Now, the challenge, obviously, the reason we exist is because we've learned to speak their language. My partners are medical providers. So, it's a different language, right? Both, it's funny, the fitness world doesn't want to talk to doctors because they think they're arrogant and they're just God complex. The physicians don't want to talk to the gym people because they just think they're a bunch of bodybuilding knuckleheads. Now, each of the industries have their own, people that represent that.
Yeah.
But for the most part, both industries, it's really this education and reaching out. And so that's why we've really come about.
And it's beyond trying to bring a lead box into the medical office and trying to do corporate rate.
Yeah, good luck.
Right?
Yeah, good luck.
And is that where Results Redefined is going to fit? Is going to be the liaison? Or is there an educational component in how you teach to speak the language? Because it's such an important issue between the medical community and fitness. How can an operator that's watching this maybe learn the lingo? And is that something that you all do, or do you encourage them to look at a certain resource?
Yeah, one of the things, Lyle, is I've had people reach out to me, and I love talking to people and educate them because it's just a big opportunity. And one of the things that our company does, our goal is to have at least 150 locations in the next 5 years, either through organic growth or acquisition. Kind of where we're in the process right now of looking at a couple of different chains of clinics to purchase. And what we've done is we're kind of building this model that we work with a health club and we give them exclusivities to our relationship in that market. So, in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, we have a huge medical footprint, and we work with local health club chain to say, we won't work with any other chain except yours, as long as, I'm looking for someone who gets it, that wants to be involved in this group, integrates the whole thing into their cycle. We even put a clinic in some of the health clubs. That's one of our 4 models, that we'll put a clinic in a health club. So it makes it easier to interact with it. So each of the areas that we've gone to, we've reached across the table to a health club that gets it, and we do all the work. They don't pay us for any of that. It literally is just, I want them to be available, have the mindset, so I have a trusted partner that I can send patients to.
In an industry that is heavily, hey, I worked 15 hours. That's just what you do. You work 7 days a week. Is there an answer to that? There's got to be a better way than constantly beating up our teams, our FCs, our instructors, but even these different CEOs, owners, operators. There has to be a different way. Would you agree on that? I mean, you clearly seems like you're living that life,
Yeah.
trying to teach people, right?
Oh, Lyle, absolutely. I used to have employees come to me and they would, when I went into a market as a CEO, and they would sit there and brag about they hadn't taken a vacation in 4 months and they worked
Exactly.
7 days a week.
Yeah.
And I would say, you keep it up, I'm going to fire you.
Oh,
And they would be shocked. Like, aren't you the CEO? Aren't you trying to drive production? One thing, the human body and the mind are not built that way.
yeah.
I mean, working long hours is not being effective. You can work long hours, but if you're exhausted, and I've been there before, you're working at half capacity. So to think that if a CEO or owner of a health club chain believes the answer is grinding your people into the ground, they're missing something. They're absolutely missing something because Richard Branson, who I really like and respect, he said the customer is not always right. If you don't support your employees and they're not
Yeah.
happy, they're not going to give great customer service. So people feel that. I mean, one of my most successful sales people was horrible at sales techniques. Couldn't tell you any of them, but he always killed the numbers.
Hmm.
Always. People always were waiting for him. And why? They trusted him. They brought their friends in. He was honest with them. He didn't lie to them. He made sure they felt comfortable in this environment. Our fitness industry environment can be very intimidating. I mean, for guys like you and I, we walk into any health club in the world and we're like, we feel at home. But a lot of people don't have that experience. And so, I think that if a CEO finds that someone's not hitting their numbers, realistic numbers, I think that's the other thing, right? Is setting realistic goals. And a
Yes.
lot of times you see CEOs set goals. They'll say, well, last year you did this year another 10%, another 10%, number 10%. They don't take in economic environment. They don't say, all right, we just hit a recession or we hit COVID. Guess what? You still have to hit your numbers. It's impossible, and you demoralize and devalue the person you're working with. So I think it's counterintuitive many times. People think working 7 days a week means you'll be successful. I've completely found the opposite. I've found that I'm less successful when I ruin my relationships, I ruin my mind, I ruin my friendships. So I think you have to trust, and also many times they're not training, right? They don't want to invest in training their teammates, so they make them work harder. Well, if you had better training programs and showed your staff and your teammates that you cared about them, you'd get better results. It's proven. You're not built to drive that way. You just humanly, it's impossible. I mean, very few can do it. Even Elon Musk will admit that working those hours is not healthy. So someone like him, who's just an incredible grinder,
Yeah.
he will even, I've seen interviews where he's admitted it, right? So if he says it, then, and he's a billionaire, right? And so, and then the fitness organizations that were much larger, we believe as a core management team in that, because we live that way as well. We lived with, balance. And when I went to town, I would travel into each of our markets every month because I felt it was important. A couple things. One, get the message across. Here's how we do things. Here's the way you work smarter and harder. Second thing is, it's funny, the team used to get freaked out by this. I'd take a front desk person out to lunch or a janitor out to lunch.
Yeah.
They're like, "What? You're just in town for a week. Why are you taking them out? Are you spying on me?" I'm like, "No, they're as valuable to the team as the regional president." And I think a lot of times the other thing, we look at human beings in these hierarchies, like you're more important because you're the CEO. Well, and quite honestly, the CEO, as I have found, if I'm not investing in my people and sacrificing for my people, and they feel that, they're not going to want to work for me, and they're
Is
not
it?
going to work hard. I mean, sometimes we do. You have to grind. Sometimes you have to grind.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm curious, because you're a big mover and shaker in this industry, and everything you've said, you work really hard to find time for yourself, for your family, other interests. What are those? Whatever you're able to share, but what are those things that help you relax? You golf, you go fish, or what do you do to try to find that? You model clearly. What do you do to find that balance?
And a couple things. One, I read the Bible every day.
Yep.
I get in the Word. To me, it's funny when people ask me what book I read to run a company. I read the Bible, and everyone's like, "How is that possible?" Well, it talks about putting people first. I mean, there's so many messages there about servanthood, right? So, which is really important. I work out every day. Um, I try to do good on vacations. I'm not a great vacation person, but I'm learning,
You
because
got
my
to do
brain's
that,
always
Jeff,
going,
or
and
I'm
I'm
going to
trying
fire
to.
you. I'm going to fire you if you don't take a
I,
vacation.
I would like you to take over. Just send me a paycheck. That'd be awesome.
That's hilarious.
I love to travel. I love to relax with family. It is. I have to be very intentional on resting, which is weird, right? I mean, it's
Yes. Yeah.
resting should become easy, but you do have to be intentional. I try very much not to look at my email. I tell my teammates, do not send me texts, don't send me emails. I'm not responding. If someone's dying, yes, of course, but very rarely. And even when I was with private equity, I got to on the second and third funds that I was with, I interviewed them. I said, are you going to bother me on Sunday? That's my day of rest. Are you going to call me? Because I won't be available. Is that a problem? So I
Yeah.
learned as a CEO to ask the questions that were important to me. Are you going to respect my family time? My kids have a play. I want to go see the play. So I think you have to make it clear to everybody how you're going to relax, so they can respect that as well. Because if you don't tell people, you can't blame them for calling you on the day that you're trying to relax.
From your vantage point as the CEO of multiple companies, how you can change lives in volume. What are some of the qualities that you say, you know what, these are the things that will really change the trajectory of your career because I've seen them time and time again. What would they be?
you know, Really care about that person, the customer in front of you. Care about them, not you. Because many times people are thinking in my head, right? All right, let's see. I get the highest total contract value by selling this, platinum membership that's got a 12-month obligation at $40 a month, and the TCV on this is going to be $700, and I get paid X.
Yeah.
Don't be running those numbers in your head when you're talking to the consumer. Sit down with them and talk to them and find out what is really going on. Because you and I both know that in 6 months, that person that's a BMI of 30 or 50 pounds overweight is not going to leave your organization if you take care of them,
Hmm.
right? So people that are coming to you for help, they're going to be with you if you take care of them and show them that you care about them for years. Even after they hit certain goals, you can achieve other goals, right? So I would say, don't think about your paycheck in the sales process, because you'll sell better, and you'll sell greater value if you're selling the value of your organization.
Truth.
So really care about the individual, right? Care about the individual. If you don't, take your product, the organization that you're working for, take group exercise classes, work with a personal trainer, get to know the product and service, so that you can sit back to the consumer and honestly say, hey, Bobby or Susie, that's a personal trainer, they are miracle workers. You're going to absolutely love them, right? Get to know those people, get to know the product that you have. A lot of people just get in and start selling. They've never taken a group exercise class. They have no idea how hard a body pump class is. Or like me taking yoga, and like everyone laughed at me because I'm not very flexible. So, but it was a great experience. So know
Yeah.
your product. And also, I think for the owner of the health club, you don't have to make every penny on that one person. We as an industry, the great thing about COVID is, as an industry, we were always of the mindset like, we have 10,000 members, only so many can come in. If all of them came in, we go bankrupt. That's the big joke at parties, right? People that you don't want people working out because, you'll lose money.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
the great news is with COVID, I think a lot of people realize, hey, there's a park next door. We have digital streaming exercise at home. You can make
Yeah.
a lot more money in this environment than we did the old days when we didn't have the technology or the opportunities.
With the little time that we have left, I was wondering if I get your hot takes on a couple of things, so they might be a little random. But
Okay.
I'm curious. Are you on TikTok?
And no, I will say my daughters, for fun, will like, hey, on vacation, Dad, do a TikTok with us. I'm like, I dread it. And of
You
course,
do
they
you
get a lot
do
of
the
hits because their friends
TikTok?
are laughing at me. I will do
Oh,
a TikTok
I'm gonna
only
find.
for my daughter's request.
We have to
No,
find.
no, there no chance, Lyle.
All
You will
right.
not find a TikTok. I tell
All
them it's
right.
private.
But the follow up to that is, with Results Redefined, how do you see social media playing in a role of getting the word out about what it is that you're doing about bridging healthcare and fitness? How do you look at those platforms?
In the healthcare industry, if you think about the healthcare industry, for the longest time, a physician opened the doors
Mm.
and people came in, right? There was no need for marketing in the healthcare industry. Now, in talking to other groups that have become more progressive, Instagram, people that have huge followers, they're like, Jeff, we just pay them X amount of money and they talk about our product, and we increase our product. So social media, I'm one of the old guys, so I'm still baffled by the fact that it's so successful, but it is how you reach the community. And so we are working with our groups to really get involved more with it and to better understand, something like the Google AdWords. We used to put a lot of money in that. Now I'm finding out like the big companies are pushing up the price. So small companies like myself can't afford to get in. So the social media is absolutely the way to go. We're still learning. I'm not an expert by any means.
That's okay. I'll help you set up your TikTok. I'll call you offline.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
I do not need TikTok.
um, what's the first thing that you eat for breakfast consistently?
So I'm called the Borg. The same thing every day. So 3 hard-boiled eggs. I have my bulletproof coffee with butter, organic butter, and organic coconut oil. That's that. I have 2 shakes a day, whey protein shakes a day, chicken and spinach for lunch and dinner. And then of course, my nutritional supplements. Always got to have those. So
you're focused on your routine. Like you believe in keep that routine. That's something important to you.
Yeah. Unfortunately, to those that love me and around me, they're kind of bothered by it because they want to go spend, $1,000 on dinner. I'm like, hey, my chicken only costs, $1. I think we could just do that. And so I haven't gotten away with that. So I can enjoy a really nice restaurant meal. But yeah, I think the nutrition is so difficult. I mean, for me, if I wasn't focused on it, I have to be very intentional about things I do. I wouldn't be there.
For someone that may be in the industry right now that has these thoughts that might be difficult and heavy, what can we do? I think the most important is, what do you suggest that they do, and what can we do as an industry to reach out to people, to be there for them? How can we be better in the mental health space, to just uplift as best as we can these individuals that are going through things?
I was very, very fortunate that my case of depression, I didn't need medication for. But I had some really good friends that came alongside of me, that were there to support me, encourage me, because when you have depression, what I experienced was I thought literally my life was over. Like my dream of being a CEO of a publicly traded company was the big thing I had dreamt of. And then when I had depression, I'm like, I'll be lucky to get a job, flipping burgers or mowing a lawn or something. Not that that's wrong, but, I'd had all this training and education, and you don't feel worthy of love from other people or a career. So I think it's really important when someone's depression that you come alongside of them, you listen, you support them, you encourage them. I think from a fitness side, the thing I love about fitness is, man, health and exercise are so important about mental health, right? I mean, just working out just changes the mood. And I think understanding that you have an incredible gift as someone in the fitness industry to really make that difference. But I think, really understanding that when a person has depression, they're at a bad place. Yeah. I mean, and sometimes it doesn't make sense. It's not logical. You see someone and you're like, how in the world are you down on yourself? You're a rock star. But it's a very incredible thing the mind does on you.
And just a couple more. What's on the horizon for Results Redefined? Is there anything we should be looking out for, or should we wait till Ursa for any announcements, or what's on the road?
Well, our technology company, Concierge Health, will be there. It's the first show that we've done, because most of the distribution of our products and services through the insurance companies and third-party programs. But I think a lot of people don't understand that there is a better way to engage the consumer. And it's amazing. I predict, here's a couple things I predict, Lyle. I believe that if health clubs get involved in all these programs, they won't have to sell another membership ever. Literally, from what I've calculated, you could have $1 million in EBITDA, four-wall EBITDA, by just using the technology. It costs you hardly anything to bring all these programs in. And I also believe that you're going to see a day when billboards go up that say health clubs are paying $100 a month per membership to get you in. Because, people go, well, that's crazy. I'm like, well, type 2 diabetic male in 1964, this is on the CDC website, costs about $24,000 a year. Type 2 diabetes can be reversed through exercise and nutrition. What would an insurance company pay a health club operator to reverse that cost? Would they pay us $1,000 a month? I don't see why not. You could give someone $100 a month to come in, and if they listen or compliant with your exercise and routine, you would make more money than you did when you were just selling gym memberships. So I think what I'm excited about is not that I'll see it in my lifetime, but I'm surely going to try to change the way as an industry we really get engaged in the medical insurance industries.
Love it. I got 2 more for you. Favorite Bible verse? Favorite is
So
a
you can
tough
always
word.
John
Is a tough word to use.
John 3:16, right? For God so loved the world. I mean, that's the go-to on the signs of the football stadiums.
Yeah.
But it is that perspective that if we so love the world as he did, or does, as a human being, we put them first above our own needs. I mean, it makes such a huge difference.
Yeah. My last one, and everyone's wants to know: how do you feel about biceps curls in the squat rack? We want to know.
Wow, I really, I'm afraid it's such a debated topic. I don't
Are
really
you a
want to give an
bicep
opinion.
curler
And
in the squat rack, Jeff?
I am way past that. I've advanced more to just standing curls.
I would have. So we're counting you. Don't do them in the squat rack. We're going to count you in that party, right?
I wouldn't recommend it. It's probably not a good idea.
Well, Jeff, hey, I really appreciate your time. This has really meant a lot to me, and I've looked up to you, and just for you taking out the time. So I thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. This is great.
Yeah. But I appreciate you, Jeff. Thank you so much, man.
You too, brother.
This
Have
was
a good
awesome.
day.
Yeah, have a good day. Thank you. Take care.